Hello, welcome back to Meditating the Word. My name is Cherie. I'm your host and fellow traveler on this journey through the Bible in a year. Whether you've been reading the Bible for years, or if this is your first time to read it, from Genesis to Revelation, I'm so glad to have you with us. We are in the 9th month of our journey, and we still have a lot of people to meet and places to visit. So let's jump into today's passage. This is day 257. Today we're reading the book of Daniel, chapters 4 through 6. I'm reading from the World English Bible. Let's get started. The book of Daniel, chapters 4 through 6. Nebuchadnezzar the king, to all the peoples, nations, and languages who dwell in all the earth. Peace be multiplied to you. It has seemed good to me to show the signs and wonders that the Most High God has worked toward me. How great are his signs! How mighty are his wonders! His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. His dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house and flourishing in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts on my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. Therefore I made a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known to me the interpretation of the dream. Then the magicians, the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers came in, and I told the dream before them. But they didn't make known to me its interpretation. But at the last Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. I told the dream before him, saying, Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in you, and no secret troubles you. Tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and its interpretation. These were the visions of my head on my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the middle of the earth, and its height was great. The tree grew and was strong, and its height reached to the sky, and its sight to the end of all the earth. Its leaves were beautiful, and it had much fruit, and in it was food for all. The animals of the field had shade under it, and the birds of the sky lived in its branches, and all flesh was fed from it. I saw in the visions of my head on my bed, and behold, a watcher and a holy one came down from the sky. He cried aloud and said this, Cut down the tree and cut off its branches, shake off its leaves and scatter its fruit. Let the animals get away from under it, and the fowls from its branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of its roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and bronze in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of the sky. Let his portion be with the animals in the grass of the earth. Let his heart be changed from man's, and let an animal's heart be given to him. Then let 7 times pass over him. The sentence is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he will, and sets it up over the lowest of men. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen, and you, Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation, because all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known to me the interpretation. But you are able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in you. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was stricken mute for a while, and his thoughts troubled him. The king answered, Belteshazzar, don't let the dream or the interpretation trouble you. Belteshazzar answered, My lord, may the dream be for those who hate you, and its interpretation to your adversaries. The tree that you saw, which grew and was strong, whose height reached to the sky, and its sight to all the earth, whose leaves were beautiful, and its fruit plentiful, and in it was food for all, under which the animals of the field lived, and on whose branches the birds of the sky had their habitation. It is you, O King, who have grown and become strong, for your greatness has grown and reaches to the sky, and your dominion to the end of the earth. Whereas the king saw a watcher and a holy one coming down from the sky, and saying, Cut down the tree and destroy it. Nevertheless, leave the stump of its roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and bronze in the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of the sky. Let his portion be with the animals of the field, until 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O King, and it is a decree of the Most High, which is come on my lord the king, that you shall be driven from men, and your dwelling shall be with the animals of the field. You shall be made to eat grass as oxen, and shall be wet with the dew of the sky. 7 times shall pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he will. Their command to leave the stump of roots of the tree means your kingdom will be sure to you, after you will have known that the heavens do rule. Therefore, O King, let my counsel be acceptable to you, and break off your sins by righteousness, and your iniquities by showing mercy to the poor. Perhaps there may be a lengthening of your tranquility. All this came on the king Nebuchadnezzar. At the end of 12 months he was walking in the royal palace of Babylon. The king spoke and said, Is not this great Babylon, which I have built for the royal dwelling place by the might of my power and for the glory of my majesty? While the word was in the king's mouth, a voice came from the sky, saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken. The kingdom has departed from you. You shall be driven from men, and your dwelling shall be with the animals of the field. You shall be made to eat grass as oxen. 7 times shall pass over you, until you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he will. This was fulfilled the same hour on Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from men, and ate grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of the sky, until his hair had grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird's claws. At the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes to heaven, and my understanding returned to me. And I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing. And he does according to the will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth, and no one can stop his hand or ask him, What are you doing? At the same time my understanding returned to me, and for the glory of my kingdom, my majesty and brightness returned to me. My counselors and my lords sought me, and I was established in my kingdom, and excellent greatness was added to me. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and extol and honor the King of heaven, for all his works are right, and his ways just, and those who walk in pride he is able to humble. Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, while he tasted the wine, commanded that the golden and silver vessels which Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem be brought to him, and that the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of God's house, which was at Jerusalem. And the king and his lords, his wives and his concubines drank from them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and of silver, of bronze, of iron, of wood, and of stone. In the same hour, the fingers of a man's hand came out and wrote near the lampstand on the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. The king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's face was changed in him, and his thoughts troubled him, and the joints of his thighs were loosened, and his knees struck one against another. The king cried aloud to bring in the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers. The king spoke and said to the wise men of Babylon, "Whoever reads this writing and shows me its interpretation shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom." Then all the king's wise men came in, but they could not read the writing, and couldn't make known to the king the interpretation. Then King Belshazzar was greatly troubled. His face was changed in him, and his lords were perplexed. The queen, by reason of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banquet house. The queen spoke and said, "O king, live forever. Don't let your thoughts trouble you, nor let your face be changed. There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. In the days of your father, light, understanding, and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, were found in him. The king Nebuchadnezzar, your father, yes, the king your father, made him master of the magicians, enchanters, Chaldeans, and soothsayers, because of an excellent spirit, knowledge, understanding, interpreting of dreams, showing of dark sentences, and dissolving of doubts that were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belteshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation." Then Daniel was brought in before the king. The king spoke and said to Daniel, "Are you that Daniel of the children of the captivity of Judah, whom the king my father brought out of Judah? I have heard of you, that the spirit of gods is in you, and that light, understanding, and excellent wisdom are found in you. Now the wise men, the enchanters who have brought in before me to read this writing and make known to me its interpretation, but they could not show the interpretation of the thing. But I have heard of you, that you can give interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now, if you can read the writing and make known to me its interpretation, you shall be clothed with purple and have a chain of gold around your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom." Then Daniel answered the king, "Let your gifts be to yourself, and give your rewards to another. Nevertheless, I will read the writing to the king, and make known to him the interpretation. To you, king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father the kingdom, the greatness and glory and majesty. Because of the greatness that he gave him, all the peoples, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. He killed whom he wanted to, and he kept alive whom he wanted to. He raised up whom he wanted to, and he put down whom he wanted to. But when his heart was lifted up, and his spirit was hardened, so that he dealt proudly, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. He was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the animals, and his dwelling was with the wild donkeys. He was fed with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of the sky, until he knew that the Most High God rules in the kingdom of men, and that he sets up over it whomever he will. You, his son, Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, though you knew all this, but you have lifted up yourself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before you, and you and your lords and your wives and your concubines have drunk wine from them. You have praised the gods of silver, gold, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, which don't see, hear, or know, and you have not glorified the God in whose hand is your breath, and whose are all your ways. Then the part of the hand was sent from before him, and this writing was inscribed. This is the writing that was inscribed: Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God has counted your kingdom and brought it to an end. Tekel, you are weighed in the balances and are found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then Belshazzar commanded, and they clothed Daniel with purple, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and proclaimed that he should be the third highest ruler in the kingdom. In that night, Belshazzar, the Chaldean king, was slain. Darius the Mede received the kingdom, being about 62 years old. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 local governors, who should be throughout the whole kingdom, and over them 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was one, that these local governors might give account to them, and that the king should suffer no loss. Then this Daniel was distinguished above the presidents and the local governors, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the presidents and the local governors sought to find occasion against Daniel as touching the kingdom, but they could find no occasion or fault, because he was faithful. There wasn't any error or fault found in him. Then these men said, "We won't find any occasion against this Daniel, unless we find it against him concerning the law of his God." Then the presidents and the local governors assembled together to the king, and said this to him: "King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the deputies and the local governors, the counselors and the governors, have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a strong decree that whoever asks a petition of any god or man for 30 days, except of you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree, and sign the writing, that it not be changed, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which doesn't alter." Therefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. When Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house. Now his windows were open in his room toward Jerusalem. And he kneeled on his knees 3 times a day and prayed, and gave thanks before his God, as he did before. Then these men assembled together, and found Daniel making petition and supplication before his God. Then they came near and spoke before the king concerning the king's decree. "Haven't you signed a decree that every man who makes a petition to any god or man within 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions?" The king answered, "This thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which doesn't alter." Then they answered and said before the king, "That Daniel, who is of the children of the captivity of Judah, doesn't respect you, O king, nor the decree which you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day." Then the king, when he heard these words, was very displeased, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored until the going down of the sun to rescue him. Then these men were assembled together to the king, and said to the king, "Know, O king, that it is a law of the Medes and Persians, that no decree nor statute which the king establishes may be changed." Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and cast him into the den of lions. The king spoke and said to Daniel, "Your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you." A stone was brought and laid on the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that nothing might be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. No musical instruments were brought before him, and his sleep fled from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste to the den of lions. When he came near to the den to Daniel, he cried with a troubled voice. The king spoke and said to Daniel, "Daniel, servant of the living God, is your God, whom you serve continually, able to deliver you from the lions?" Then Daniel said to the king, "O king, live forever. My God has sent his angel and has shut the lions' mouths, and they have not hurt me, because I am innocent in his sight. Also before you, O king, I have done no harm." Then the king was exceedingly glad, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no kind of harm was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. The king commanded, and they brought those men who had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions mauled them, and broke all their bones in pieces before they came to the bottom of the den. Then King Darius wrote to all the peoples, nations, and languages who dwell in all the earth, "Peace be multiplied to you. I make a decree in all the dominion of my kingdom, men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and steadfast forever. His kingdom is that which will not be destroyed. His dominion will be even to the end. He delivers and rescues. He works signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions." So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. Father God, how we love the account of Daniel. What an amazing testimony of his faithfulness and yours. Even at the risk of death, he would not deny you, but continued to worship you as he always had. And you proved faithful in shutting the mouths of the lions so that he wasn't harmed. Father, to have the faithfulness of Daniel, to worship you and to praise you no matter what may come. Help us, Father, to be that faithful. Amen. Well, there we have it, another chapter in our journey through the Bible. It isn't always easy to understand, but remember, it isn't a race, and each word we read is a seed planted in our hearts. Thank you for being part of this journey. Join us tomorrow and every day as we continue our journey through the pages of the Bible. This is Cherie signing off for the day. Remember, you are in my prayers, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until next time, be blessed and be a blessing.